I always thought it would be cool if you could go back and listen to the day-to-day of today's highest achievers as it happened, as opposed to 30 years later after they've made it. I believe there's a giant disconnect between ground zero and the top floor because we only see the top floor and the top floor only talks about the top. How valuable would that be? And so it goes without saying, but I believe I'll make it there. And this is a documented journey through each level. My name is Bryson Sessions, and you are listening to the Bed Podcast.
So 281. And so same thing as the last dozen episodes. I'm outside doing this walk. Kind of a similar trail. I'm just taking the same old... What a shitty start to the show, huh? Let's get some energy going here. I am doing the same route for the outdoor workout that I have been pretty much this whole phase. So I don't know how to explain it without giving you my exact location, but there's a park nearby. I walk about 10 minutes to the park, walk around the park, go through this little trail, see this river. It's really beautiful, actually, especially close to sunset, which is where I'm at now, or what time it is now, I should say. But there's something I wanted to, I guess, point out that I was just thinking about. So that's the whole reason why we have the show here, just document everything. So I'm sitting here thinking about today, because today was a very lazy day for me. I had more time, about 6 hours more today than a typical day. That's because I got off work early, even earlier than planned. Went home about, I think it's 12:45 instead of the typical 1:15. So that's pretty cool. But that combined with the fact that I don't work or I don't have to wake up until 7 tomorrow morning for FedEx, as opposed to 4 for my full-time job now. That gives me so much more time. So that gives me from about 1 o'clock to midnight. So that is 11 hours. And on a normal day, it's usually about 5 because I get off work at 2:15 and I go to bed around 8:30. So that's 6 hours. So almost double the amount of time, but I'm still executing the same exact way that I would on a normal day, which means all this extra time, however, I'm not using it. I'm literally being lazy because I'm so tired. I took a nap. But anyway, so what I want to talk about is yesterday when I was working on my business, which is one of my 3 additional tasks for the program. So what I have to do for that is I declare something I'm going to work on and then kind of declare an endpoint. So I start working on something. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to stop and it's not going to count until I reach this certain point of whatever I'm working on. So I was doing that. And yesterday I got lost in it in a good way. I was just writing and I was so stoked about it and it was great and I was loving it. And I didn't want to stop, but I ran out of time and I had other things to get done. So I say that because I was working on something that I wanted to be working on, and I had the creative juices flowing, and I loved it. It was awesome. And then other times when I'm working on, for example, writing actual workout programs, like actually putting that all together, I don't necessarily mind, but it's just so tedious because I know very well what goes together, what doesn't, and what makes sense in the real world as far as the gym. Because, for example, a lot of programs, they'll have you do supersets or something. But those supersets, those machines or the exercises or whatever, it's not practical in a typical gym. It's like, so you'd have, I don't know, like bench press superset with squat or something like that. And like, dude, in your own home gym, like that's probably pretty brutal. But you can't really do that in a public gym. Or you're an asshole. And I don't want to teach anybody or recommend anybody to be an asshole and take up multiple shit at the gym unless you can. Unless your gym's dead, whatever. But, like I'm trying to make this program just so simple. So side note real quick, I'm gonna come back to the program here. But I had this whole idea to do 8 different phases throughout the 16 weeks. And every 2 weeks, the program would pretty much switch up completely. Well, like 50% of the program would change. And new intensity techniques would be introduced. So that way it was just very hard every phase. And I realized that I was overcomplicating it because the type of people I'm going after aren't going to be people who want to or I guess who have the experience necessary to do all these things with the right technique and the form and the attention to the range of stuff like that. Because I'm targeting people who are fairly new to the gym. I mean, not like a year or two. I still consider that beginner, and then that with just trying to lose weight. That's the goal, right? So that's a very vague summary of the demographic I'm going after. But anyway, made this program, and I was like, dude, this is actually way too complicated. This is a great program for somebody who's very advanced and who's looking to challenge themselves. But as far as getting, results in the gym, you don't need this. And I realized that, and I'm glad I did, because now I rewrote the entire program, which, is cool. Kind of sucks because the program that I was following was that one. So now I can't really say that the program I'm giving to the people who sign up is something that I have done set for set, rep for rep, exercise for exercise. But I've done variations like a shit ton. I mean, this is my 11th year, I believe, for training. So pretty sure because it's my 11th year in the gym. And I think I've been saying that it's 10, but it's 11 because I started when I was 16. I just turned 27. That's 11 years. So 11 years training in the gym. Pretty cool stuff. But I haven't done the exact variation of the program that I will be giving to my clients. But now I am. So I'm starting on week 1 of the program that I made. And I'm currently on I think after this week, I'll start week 7, I believe, of the cut that I'm on. So just about halfway there. Not too aggressive. I've started to kind of balance out my weight a little bit. I'm not losing 500 pounds a week. I'm losing less than a pound per week, which is very ideal. And I'm trying to keep track of how I feel during all this because it was awesome. When I first started, like the first 2 weeks, I was down like 6 pounds. That was a huge win. I was like, oh, hell yeah, I know I'm going too quick, but I lost a lot of weight here, and it's not all fat. It's not all muscle. It's not all water. It's a good mix of all of them. Mainly water weight, and then I'd say half of the remainder, I'd say 7/8 of the remainder of that was fat. And then the remainder total is probably muscle. Because there's ways to mitigate muscle loss when you're trying to cut down on your weight, but I think it's inevitable. Like you'll always lose some, and that's fine because you have muscle memory and you can build it back fairly quickly later. So not a huge concern, but anyway, I lost a lot of weight quick. Now I'm kind of balancing out, which is what I want. But I don't want a client of mine to see that and be like, oh, I'm only losing half a pound per week now. What the hell's going on? When in reality, it's like, dude, that's great progress. Half a pound per week is 26 a year. And if you're only losing half a pound of body weight per week, chances are your calories are still fairly high. You're not in the super deficit cutting phases where you're really hungry every day. And there's obviously ways to fix that and not have that happen. But eating, there's no way around it. The more calories you have to play with, the more sustainable and more enjoyable just simply eating is. So, I'm not going to beat around the bush. The more you have to play with, the easier it is. So, but anyway, I'm just trying to keep track of how I feel so I can gauge how someone else might feel. Because to go from losing so much weight so quick and feeling like you're on a roll to then going so slow, it's like, oh, am I doing something wrong? And I have to check myself because I'm like, no, this is good. If you want to lose more, then go ahead, but this is good. You're making progress, period. And that's what you want. So, yeah, it's my internal monologue there. Or my dial, internal, whatever. So anyway, going back to the program. What was I going to say about the program? Don't know. Don't know, dude. God damn it, dude. What the hell was I going to say? I don't know. I think what I was getting at was I had to rewrite the whole thing. So I mean, it is what it is, and it's a lot more. Oh, that's what I was saying. So yesterday I did something I like to do. Previous days I've been writing the program, and it's just tedious. It just takes a little bit of time to write everything out the way I want it to. It's one thing to get your notes app out and be like, bench 3 sets of 10, but I'm putting it into an Excel sheet and trying to have it organized so that it's easy to implement into, or it's easy to input that into the software that I choose. And also, if somebody wants an Excel spreadsheet as well, then they'll have that. Because a lot of people might not fuck with the whole workout app. But I think what my goal is to do is to kind of market that and show the perks of that rather than, because you can track your weight on there. It shows you what you did last week. It makes things easier. But that's kind of from my own beliefs. Like I've never been one to use apps like that. I've always just kind of kept a mental note, or I wrote it in a notebook. There's been a couple apps I've used, but I just hated being on my phone. I hated feeling like I had to get my phone out every single set. I mean, you can go listen to the first 100 episodes. I think there's an episode that's called like "Get the fuck off your phone in the gym," But people got their own shit going on, and I think that's just part of me. I guess maybe maturing a little bit. Like, just because they're on their phone doesn't mean they're doing non-productive work, But it's kind of what I see. It doesn't matter, but anyway, so Jesus, dude, so distracted. So anyway, going back to the other thing, I'm doing work that I wanted to do yesterday, and it was great, and I loved it, and I didn't want to stop. And then I go to work on the program itself, and I'm like, dude, fuck this, And what's interesting is in the past, I had one client, and he was on a monthly retainer, so it was every month he paid. He could cancel whenever. And because I didn't have a year's worth of programming, I had to keep making him programs every 4 weeks. And it sounds so simple, but it was so tedious and so annoying, so much so that doing it once a month was just the most irritating thing ever. And I use that reasoning to be like, no, I don't want to be a trainer. This is stupid. But now I'm thinking, okay, I just have to do this one thing that I really don't prefer to do. It's a lot up front. Have that done so that when somebody does sign up, all they have to do is, just sign up, and then it's all done. And then I can cross that bridge if they want to have more programs later. But if I do all the work up front, I'm going to be super exaggerative, but if I just go a full ass month, day to day, every day, 8 hours a day, just making programs, and the chances of me ever having to make a program again, so slim, because I'll have so many templates, I'll have so many things to draw off of. Someone might need this program or that program, and I'll be able to reference a certain one, make slight tweaks to just the one, and then it'll be good to go. I won't have to make a whole ass thing. So the point I'm trying to make with that is I can do all the work up front and be good. And the reason why I bring that up is because now when I'm writing the program, now my mindset is totally different. I'm like, okay, this sucks, don't want to do it, but the sooner I get this done, the better, or the faster I can move on to other areas of the program and start making different parts of the program. That'll be done. I mean, that's one of the core pieces of the whole thing anyway, which is, what the fuck? Picked up a tennis ball on my walk, dude. The hell? I say that as if I didn't know I did. I've been playing with it the whole time. But now I just want to get it done. Oh, yeah. So the workout program is a core piece of the whole thing. So the sooner I get that big chunk out of the way, the sooner I can focus on other parts that I actually enjoy doing. Is, for example, writing the program itself with sets, reps, exercises, rest times, intensity techniques, you name it. Instead of doing that, I like to write about the program. So I'll be like, okay, so day one, we're going to focus on bent over barbell rows. The goal here is to squeeze right here, do this, and our goal is to increase by 5 pounds per week. Here's a timeline of how much you can expect to gain if you try, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just making shit up. But I like doing stuff like that. And I just have to finish doing the things that I don't really want to do so that I can get to the things that I actually do want to do. And it's a cool mentality. So the whole point of this episode is for me to tell you this line right here. It's cool to see the mentality shift and the perspective kind of switch up based on everything that I've gone through. And I credit a lot of this to 75 Hard and the program and just kind of everything I've learned, because now I'm just so excited to get to the next step. Whereas last go around, I was like, dude, fuck it. I don't even want to be a trainer. This is bullshit. And now I'm like, okay, we'll do this. Move on to the next. And then we can do more stuff. And then this won't be a constraint for me. And I think it's me realizing that there's always something that you don't want to do, and whatever it is that you're doing, there's always something that you hate or something that you love. For me, that is the creative aspect of things, and the design, just kind of trying to help somebody out. People send texts, or they'll send invites, or they'll send plans for an event or whatever, and it's just so everywhere. It's so disorganized. Everything's so, people don't pay attention to the detail. And when it comes time for that with me, I go all out. I love that shit. If I can provide all the links, if I can provide all the photos, if I can make sure that every word is grammatically correct and all the punctuation's there, and that everybody is addressed and everybody's heard and all the questions are answered, I love that shit, because it's so frustrating for me when people don't do that. I can't stand it. I can't stand when I send somebody a text and I'm like, hey, so, like, for example, you ask them 2 questions, they only respond to one. So I'm like, hey, so is so-and-so coming tonight? Also, do you need me to bring this? And they say, yeah, they're coming. Okay, sick. But what about the other question? That gets me so fucking bothered. Because it's like, are you so oblivious? Are you dumb? You can't look at the other question. I say, answer that one also. Fuck. So why that ties into what I'm talking about is because I like doing things where that is required of me, to like provide something that's so crystal clear and nice and organized. Because I'm like, hey, nobody else is going to do as good of a job as me with this type of stuff. So here I go. I'm going to shine, and it's going to be the greatest product somebody's ever seen. At least that's what goes on. That's what goes on in my head. So anyway, whole point of the show is to say that I remember the first time I was making a program, didn't like it, and I hated it. Nice. That's a good sentence right there. Didn't like it and I hated it. Cool. But now I'm looking forward to kind of busting through it so I can move on and continue working on the stuff that I do like. Because once all that's done, then I'll have a program, I'll bundle it all together. And that way, on day one, if somebody signs up, they're ready to go. I don't have to continue making things. I don't have to be like, well, actually, so I'm working on this thing. You'll probably get it in the next couple months. So just look out for that, And I disagree with the whole thing that's, procrastination because I'm trying to be perfect. I think there's a lot that goes around perfectionism and being a perfectionist and all that shit. But I think what it comes down to is, if you really are a perfectionist, I think that you really do want it to be perfect, and you are actively working to make the thing perfect. If you say you're a perfectionist and you're working on something, but then you only touch it, a couple times a day because it's like, oh, no, it's got to be perfect. I guess you don't really give a fuck. You're not a perfectionist, because if you were, you'd be at it nonstop trying to make it perfect. But if you're not, I think it's just procrastination. I think you're just being lazy. And the reason why I say that is because I've got this whole program. I've got all the things I want to make. And the truth is, all I need is a workout program, the workout app. I don't even need that. And then I need to make meal plans and figure out macros and stuff for people, which I've done that for myself almost monthly for the last 5 years. So I have all that set up. So I could take a client right now. But I want the offer to be so incredibly good, so irresistible, that somebody hops on a call with me, they see the presentation, and they say, oh shit, this is incredible. Yes, I'm signing up. And then that way, the 4 or 5 months up front of work that I put in for zero money instantly starts getting paid out, So I put in 5 months worth of work. We'll say that's 150 days. So we'll just say I put in 3 hours a day. We'll just round up. So if I put in 500 hours total in the first 5 months, 500 hours, and we'll just say I get paid $3 an hour average. So that is $1,500. Is that right? 5 times 3. 350, yeah, $1,500. So that's $1,500 worth of work No, $15,000 worth of work because 500 hours times $30 an hour. That's right. So $15,000 worth of work, unpaid, and now it's done. So now I have this product that's finished. All I have to do is sell it. And so in order to make that back, I'd have to sell 15 clients, and everything after that would be pure profit based on the time that I put in. So if that's the case, I would only need to sell 15 clients. And my goal is to have, like 100 a year. So if you divide that up, that's like 2 months worth. All right. A month worth, pretty close to a month. So a month worth of client, pretty close to a month and a half, actually. Month and a half times 1, 2. Yeah, I don't know actually. So 5 months worth of work to then have it all be paid off within a month, and then everything after that, So 5 months worth of work, and then have 7 months remaining in the year to then make 70 grand, And I say these numbers, and they're intimidating for me to even say out loud, because how the hell am I going to get 70 people? Right now I'm focusing on just one. Honestly, I kind of want to get someone to tell me no, so that I can be like, okay, that's cool, man. I'm just curious, like what's in the program, what's not clear to you, or what's really not enticing. I'm just trying to learn straight up. So if you could tell me honestly, that would help me more than you could possibly imagine. And then I get feedback. And then let's say the first 20 calls. Let's say the first 20 calls in the first 6 months are all no's. That would suck, but that's 20 things. If somebody gives me 20, if there's 20 people and they all give me something that I could fix, or something they don't like, or something that they do like, then my voice could crack more, and that'd be great. And I could improve 20 different times in the offer and in the wording and in everything that I have. And that, if you want to look at it in some way, propels me forward even further if I wouldn't have had those 20 no's. Because now I'm 20 no's, I'm paying off what they call ignorance tax or ignorance debt, which is the price of just not knowing what's good, what's bad, and what to do. So you got to pay to learn. So that's what that is. So if I can get 20 no's up front, that's 20 lessons I could learn to improve the offer. And then maybe those are the 20 improvements that I needed to really scale the thing up to, $20,000 a month. And anything more than $10,000 a month to me is just mind-blowing money. I've never seen that in my life. Like I can't imagine having 5 digits in my bank account. I've never had 5 digits in my bank account ever. I've never had more than $4,000 in my bank account ever in my ever. Not one day have I seen it over $4,000. The highest it ever has been in my entire life was when I saved up to buy my first ever car, and that was a 2008 Mazda 6. It was silver, and I didn't have any responsibilities as far as bills go. Well, like I didn't pay rent. I didn't really have electricity bills or utility bills. So all the money that I saved up was for that car. And I remember I had $3,543, something like that. And I saved that for the car. So that's the most amount of money I've ever seen in my account ever in my entire life. So the thought that I can make 10 grand in 1 month when I've never even seen 5 digits in my bank account ever before is just so mind-blowing for me. But I'm pushing myself to make this happen. Like right now I'm hyped up, and I'm ready to go, and I'm working on this stuff, trying to get it ready. And then there's going to be a time where I have to schedule a phone call, and I have to follow up with the guy. And then the guy's got to show up to the call. And then I have to be the authority and the person that's going to help him. And then I have to sell this program to him and explain and use all the conviction in my soul to let them know why this is beneficial and potentially, well, while it is life-changing for them to sign up. And that's kind of what I'm signing up for. And it just so happens that all the profit goes directly to me because I'm just a solo guy. And like as far as a team or business goes, and there's very low cost. I have to pay for a monthly workout software or a fitness software. And I don't know, maybe other software subscriptions. So maybe like $80 a month total for starting out. Maybe as I keep going, it'll get closer to 100 or 200 or whatever. But it's interesting because some of these fitness softwares, they cost, we'll say $50 a month for 25 clients. If you're getting 25 clients a month and they all pay monthly,
I'll say it's $300 a month. That's $7,500 a month on, well, if you get 25 clients a month and they leave after the 16 weeks, then you're getting about 30 grand a month after 4 months. And it's funny because that's what sorry, I did the math very wrong. So if a software, and this doesn't even matter, but if a software allows you to have 25 people, and they're all on monthly $300 a month, that's $7,500 a month. So you're paying, let's see, not even 1% of your income of the revenue to this software that is a core element of the program. It's funny that they charge so little. And it's an interesting model for sure. So anyway, I'm kind of getting way off track. Whole point of this show is to say that I'm doing the same things that I was doing then, but now I have a different mentality, so it's easier for me to chug through and to get this shit done because I know what's on the other side of this. Back then, I was only focused on money rather than anything else. So it was like, nah, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not even getting paid now. Why am I going to continue? But I guess it's just growing, maturing, leveling up, and learning lots. So, yeah, with that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the show super abruptly. Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. And a quick reminder here. So this podcast doesn't prioritize professionalism or quality at all. It's just meant to be a shoot from the hip type podcast with the intent just to get a quick message out. So some episodes might be inaudible in 30 seconds and others might be 45 minutes and super crisp sounding. So all these are being made so that by episode 7,305, which is 20 years, we can come back and see the entire playbook of how I made it to wherever I'm going. So thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.